Hello and welcome to another episode of Intune.training, the place to learn how to use Microsoft Intune, the Steve and Adam show with Steve and Adam.
That's Adam.
Hey, it's Steve. I don't even try anymore. You know I'm going to get the finger point the wrong way. It's that one. Hey, I got it.
Miss. Yeah. Ready?
Come on, Steve. All right. Surely people are tired of this shtick by now, right?
Are we childish? Yes.
But
that's why you right?
If we keep it up, this is going to become like, oh, who's on first? Yeah. All right, let's get busy. Let's get to it. We are just moving along with all the new content for this reboot, which even that statement will not live very long before it's stale too.
Correct.
So we are in season 5-ish, year 5 of doing this, and we've never done this video ever. So that's kind of cool because we're redoing a bunch of things. This is a new one. This is a new topic we've never, ever done. Steve, tell everybody what we're going to talk about today.
Apple provisioning in macOS.
We did that.
Did we?
I thought this was a new video, Steve.
Oh, that's right. Maybe this is all the new features that have just turned up.
Wait, you can't manage a Mac in Intune?
Yes, you can. Some really cool features that are here to manage.
All right. Quit teasing everybody. Let's get to it.
Let's talk about platform SSO.
All right. Is there a blog post we should look at here, Steve, or a docs article?
I'm sure there's plenty of blog posts from fellow MVPs out there and from Microsoft as well around how to set all of this up. But on top of that, there's also some additional provisioning stuff that's been added into the device profiles for macOS. So let's stop teasing the viewers and let's jump over and we'll bounce through the portal and have a little bit of fun.
So what is platform SSO? What does that mean?
Platform SSO is
to use Australian English as the main language.
The team's been asking us for. The team's been asking us for Windows Hello for Business, right? It's been a big ask, and we do acknowledge that we will be doing it. But Platform SSO is, in certain circumstances, the equivalent of Windows Hello for Business for Mac.
Oh, okay.
So it gives you the ability to flip that credential across and use a secure TPM to make sure you've got a token on your device with Platform SSO. So it's consistent identity across the whole device where you're sitting there and basically using your Entra account on the device and it's being registered into Intune. Intro as well.
You know what? The cool marketing folks even wrote it this way. They said Platform SSO is an enhancement to the existing SSO extension capabilities for Mac OS, which allows users to sign in into their Macs using passwordless credentials or passwords managed and validated by Intra ID. So that sounds like, hey, I can use my Intra credentials to log into my Mac device, which has not previously been possible.
Correct. How good is that?
Sounds good to me. Show me how to do it.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to put my screen up and let's start jumping through. So we're going to start really simply, and we're going to start at actually the provisioning process. We'll get to Platform SSO shortly, but we're going to do a little bit of a deviation to some of the features that have been added into the device provisioning profile as well. And the reason why will become apparent very quickly. So if we go through here and we're going to go to macOS because it's easier, and we're going to select Mac enrollment or macOS enrollment. Under here, we still have our deployment profile for macOS attached to our ABM. You can do the same by using Apple Configurator and having the profile in there and having it configured that way, download, etc. But for what we're doing today is we're going to go in here and use the profile that we have in our platform. We have it set up as a user affinity. We're always going to do that for the most part for what we're doing because that makes sense. But what you're going to see in here is there's a couple of new settings. Await final configuration. So what does that make you think, Adam, if I say await final configuration?
Well, during Setup Assistant, it won't let you start touching the phone and potentially getting ahead of configuration we're trying to push down. So you have to
Correct.
wait until all the configuration and policies and things come down from Intune to fully manage the device before you can use it.
Yep.
Much
But it's
like
also-
autopilot ESPs, if you say
Correct.
wait for the user ESP, it means you can't get onto the box until you have all the policies.
Exactly right. And that's exactly where we're looking at. And if we look through here, there's the typical Setup Assistant, all great, all cool. But then we scroll down here and we have a new account settings section. And it's in preview. So, ooh, what does this do? Let's have a little bit of a dive into this. We can now go in here and create a local primary account. Of course, we want to create the local primary account. And we can go, yep, we are automatically going to put the partial UPN, which will be what the variable is for the before the domain name, and then the primary user, which right now is username, and then you are going to restrict the editing. So what that means is when your Mac user creates the profile and goes through that out-of-box experience, they're automatically going to get their Entra ID account as the primary account to sign into the device. So you no longer have Mickey Mouse's laptop or whatever. It's going to be tied to that user. Cool, right?
Yeah.
So that's the additional components in the out-of-box experience. What
or,
we have
or,
then,
or the Setup Assistant for the
Yes.
terms of.
yes, you're correct, Adam. I'll give you that.
Hey, trying.
Yeah, we know. So then what we're going to do is that the next part that we're going to step into is if we're going to go back to macOS, we're going to go to configuration profiles. In here, we have not really got much in here or nothing. We're now going to create a new policy, and we're going to use the setting type of settings catalog, which is awesome, nice and easy, and it's typically what we use everywhere else. We're going to go in here, create a new name. We're going to call it Mac OS Platform SSO, and to keep Ben happy, let's put in an emoji because we love it. So we're going to add a setting, and we're going to here, and we're going to use this extensible single sign-on, and I spelled that wrong.
To use Australian English as the main language, press the return key.
Just bear with me. My Apple wants my attention. They can be a very friendly bunch. So what we're looking for here is extensible on SSO. And you'll see that there's a whole heap of options here. We're just going to select all because it's just easier. I'm lazy. And where you see authentication mode, this is where you have the option to say, I'm going to use my Entra ID password and make them consistent, or I'm going to use the user secure enclave. So let's set it up as password right now, because that's actually, no, we're going to use secure enclave, and I'll show you why shortly.
Question.
Yes.
This
Yes,
says
Adam.
deprecated on it, Steve.
It does. So if you're using macOS 13.x, you need to use the deprecated ones. If you go down here a little bit further, you're going to find the current ones, which is for 14.x. So there's two separate scenarios. That's just how Apple set it up today.
So basically, we can configure one policy that'll cover both OSs.
No, you need to configure both.
Sorry, you can make both configurations in the same policy.
Yep, correct.
Okay, that's what
I only apply the one that makes sense.
Okay, gotcha.
So we're not going to use the deny bundle identifiers. We don't want to worry about that. Screen lock, we're going to leave that as do not handle. There's not really much choice. And I'll be honest, I've got a another configuration off to the side. We're going to go in and put a team identifier in there of this, which Adam's going to sit there and go, but Steve, where did you get that from? I got
You
that
just
from
said
the docs.
you got it from the screen next to you.
Yes.
There.
I did. Where it gets complicated and it's going to take a little bit more time for me to go through the process is I need to add in a whole heap of URLs here. This is where we're sitting here and saying we need to add in logon.microsoft. Just give me 30 seconds.
To use Australian English as the main language, press.
And I've just muted the Mac. So we're now needing to add the logon information for Microsoft. So this is the credentials or the endpoints that we're going to be hitting as part of the authentication process. And it's just going to take me a sec. And it's ts.windows.net. And you'll note that that's the China partner. It's technically not needed if you don't have anything in China, but for what we're using, we're going to be consistent, just to make it based on the documentation. CN. You'll note that there's Microsoft Online US, which is going to be the US version.
Steve, can you still hear me?
I can indeed. Did you break your computer?
Yep. I've broken my computer.
Yeah, because I
Completely
don't see your
frozen.
video moving either.
I can't. I can't see you, but I can hear you. So I'll just carry on.
Your camera moving. I will
I'll just ask questions.
Sounds good. So we've added the
drop
URLs.
drop me from the chat. Whatever. Wait.
Yeah.
Whatever. Carry on.
Okay. So I've added the URLs. The next part that we're going to add in here is going to be our registration token, which we're going to just copy and paste. It's very simple. It's just device registration. We're going to type that in there. That's done. And the extension identifier, what we'll do is copy that, is very simple. It is the company portal Mac SSO extension. From a display name, we're not going to bother with that. We don't need to, nor groups, nor administrative groups, but technically you can start defining that. Authorization, we don't need to configure any of that right now because we are not using any of those components. We have the ability to specify that it's a standard user and anything associated around that. So standard will be added to the standard area. We're going to clear out the token to user mapping, which we're not using, nor authorization. And the type needs to be redirect. So that's it. That's all we need to set up. We're then going to go next, and we just needed to remove this one here. And we're going to go next. And we're going to step all the way through, and then we're going to add a group. In here, we're going to look for licenses because that's where we've targeted everything for our user objects. Obviously, go and target this wherever it makes sense for you. You'll see all of the settings that we've configured. Nice and easy. We hit create. So then over here on the Mac, what we have is our PC. I'm just going to quickly show you where that's at. We're going to go through that out-of-box experience, and we should get all of that processed. Have we lost Adam completely now?
I'm here.
Cool. Awesome. So we're just going through the out-of-box experience at the moment and at the enroll management screen. on the enroll management screen, we're now going to put in our, we're prompted for our Intune credentials or our Entra ID credentials. So I'm just going to quickly sign into that with my Intune training account. You'll note that we have an MFA prompt on this, which you should always have on your account because it's super, super important. And I hit the wrong button. There we go. It should be approved. There we go. So now it's going through the out-of-box experience. What you'll note is once this completes its authentication, it's now going to Intune, Entra and Intune combined, but Intune. And you'll note that it's now waiting here to install the enrollment profile and everything associated. So it's going to take a little bit longer to go through the process, and we will have the ability to go through that registration process. So we can see that Adam's now joined us again, and I'm going to add both of him to the stage so we can hear him talk.
Well,
so
I am brute forcing killing my computer. I'll be here in a moment.
Perfect. Yep, perfect. So Adam's just going through and sorting his computer out at the moment, which is great. You'll have noticed going through that whole UX, it came up with declarative management, which we'll talk about in a later video. But this is an additional feature and functionality that's been added to the macOS ecosystem by both Apple, and now Intune's fully supporting that, to have the ability to use a declarative device management policy to have a simplistic way of managing all of those policies for Intune and for device management on the Apple platform. So you'll see that we're now going through and we're connecting to the server and we're doing everything required to sign in, and that will go through shortly. Do you have any questions, Adam, while we're waiting for this to go through? And you're muted.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Yep.
Well, I missed all the good stuff because I couldn't screen, but I assumed that you got to sign in and magical things. So did you? Whatever. did you do the platform SSO already, or did you just already put credentials in to do your login and it'll come?
So right now, platform SSO hasn't been configured. All that we're doing is the first step, which is the out-of-box experience. I've created the profile and deployed it to the user. And what we'll see is once we sign into Company Portal, which will enact the process to configure the platform SSO.
And so, so based on my guess here, I mean, so this is I've never seen this before, obviously. So based on what the policy looks like, it looks like you're going to ultimately end up with a local account that matches, that's mapped to the account you just used to do Setup Assistant. And so when you sign into Company Portal, it's going to use those. I guess it's probably more so whoever you sign into Company Portal with, but maybe not. One of those things.
So it's already registered with the system when it's gone through that out-of-box experience.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we've had to put in a username and password. It's now registered into our management platform. And you'll note here on the screen, I can't go and change my full name or my account name. So both of those have been pre-populated as part of that out-of-box experience. Okay. I can only put a password of my choice. And the reason why I still need to put in the password of my choice is because Platform SSO hasn't been set up right now. And that password basically becomes your PIN equivalent when you do the secure enclave, because that password only exists on that device.
Okay, so you're creating a local password, and that the secure enclave is equivalent to what we're doing with Hello for Business and the TPM.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So this is just going to go through and complete that out-of-box experience, and we're going to sign in. What should occur is once we've signed in, we should see the Company Portal installed. It needs to be the latest version of the Company Portal. So if you're pushing it out as a PKG file, make sure you've gone and deployed the latest version for your macOS. If you're using the script, make sure you've updated it. But either way, you just need to make sure that you're consistent with that patching. Cool. So what's happening under the hood is the company portal apps going off and installing. Obviously, you can go through and enable location services if that makes sense. Yeah, sure, whatever. I'm not really too concerned because this Mac's not going to last all that long. 200% make sure you have Touch ID set up and enforced for your end users. It makes their life easy. That's the goal, is you want to make it easy so they actually use it. It also becomes the biometric authentication for your Hello for Business, platform SSO. I like dark mode, so I'm just going to set it to dark. And now we're into the actual Mac itself. If we go down here to Launchpad, what we should see eventually land on here is our company portal application. It might just take a second or few to install, but it is required to have that that company portal app installed to be able to enforce the platform SSO, because that's the extension that's actually doing it. So what you'll see up the top corner, we've had the Microsoft Auto Update install, which is the company portal app. Eventually will appear. So it's the auto update is part of the installer for company portal. And now we can see that that's installed. So we're going to quickly click on that. It's going to come up and it's going to go, yeah, you need to sign in. It's like, yeah, of course. It's just the standard scenario. We've got the required data notice because we want to be compliant. We're now going to sign in. And bear with me while I look at my other screen. And I'm going to need to put in my username and password for this because I still haven't signed into this application / profile on this device other than to register it. We go and we hit our approval.
But also, if you had multi-factor configured with Authenticator on your phone, you could have bypassed the password and used app to sign in here.
Correct. You could just do passwordless as well, of course.
Yes, that's the words I was shooting for.
Yes.
Yes, passwordless.
And that should have just signed in, but you'll see that this is asking to sign in with single sign-in. This is the platform SSO or single sign-in. You have the ability to opt out of it down the bottom, but in this scenario, we're not going to.
So the first one was sign into your account. The second one is sign
Correct.
into SSO.
Into the company portal. Yep.
Okay. And to be clear, the platform SSO is an Apple product, an Apple
Correct.
feature that Microsoft has. So it's a feature to enable developers to extend, to connect a Mac local account to an IDP like
Correct.
Intra in this case. And so that's all that Microsoft has done is essentially created the connector here to allow that to work.
So, and that's super important to call out is, yes, this isn't a native identity broker. This is not something that is a third-party app or an agent being added in top. It's just there.
Yeah, this isn't Microsoft wrote Hello for Business for Mac. This is Microsoft's extending a Mac-built, Mac-certified identity provider or credential managed, whatever the heck, platform SSO. How about that?
That's right.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I should be getting a Action Center notification to register it. And it didn't work for some reason. But what should happen is it should pop up saying, hey, you need to register this Mac. The other thing that we didn't enable, but we can and we should, is you can also enforce, and let me show you this. So if we go back to my console, if we go to configuration profiles, we're going to create a new profile here. Is under settings catalog, we're going to create a macOS profile to enable file vault. So macOS file vault. So do you know what I mean when I say file vault, Adam?
I mean, no. I
So
I could take a guess, but no.
Go. I'll listen and entertain a guess.
No. I mean, it's a vault for files.
Well, yes, that is correct. So what file vault is, it's the equivalent of BitLocker. So this is where you're going to enable it and enforce that setup assistant, right? Obviously, we missed that step, but you can sit there and go, while it's going through that out-of-box process, go and force file vault to be enabled, because I don't have that on my device right now. What that's saying is it's going, well, I can't do anything until you have it enabled because it's not compliant. So I'm just going to quickly enable this and send down a policy for that. What we're going to do as well is we're going to go to macOS devices, and you'll see that it is non-compliant because we do have a compliance policy there from our previous talks, and we may just turn that off in a second. And we go here, we can see that the configuration's there. We're waiting for the second one to land. And that should be pretty quick. I'm just going to sync that. We're going to go and check what our compliance policy is for macOS. And just bear with me while I bounce around the portal a little bit. So this is just loading up, and we have one in non-compliant. Okay, cool. Let's go to properties. What have we actually set? Because as we found last time, we may have gone a little bit too aggressive with our settings.
Yes, just a little bit.
And it looks like it's only the encryption of drive that's causing the issue here. So once it's encrypted, we should be fine, which should occur the next time the device does a restart. So I'm just going to quickly flip back over, and I'm just going to force a restart now. And it should have popped up, but it didn't because we're obviously gotten in a little bit too early for that. So this is just going through the restart on my Mac at the moment. But what will happen once all that's processed is it should give me the prompt to set up. Go back over here. It should give me the prompt to register into
Platform SSO.
Platform SSO, which was working yesterday, but it might also not be working right now. So, yep. Just quickly check status. And if we go here, one thing to note is if you go to settings, you'll see here under SSO, we're not seeing what they're saying is you should be able to go click the registration required notification action center, which is over here, but I'm not actually seeing it. So it will get there. Let's go.
I mean, the thing I think is a hallmark of our demos is that they never go to script, and we always have to troubleshoot and debug, which inevitably is exactly what happens out in the field. So
yep,
you get to see the long way around, and hopefully your experience is much smoother.
Yes. So what should have happened there, and this could have been to do with we didn't get a full prompt earlier, is that should have auto-signed in. But it's picked up that I have an identity attached to the profile. We're just going to go through the MFA. Oh my God. And my Android's just being a little bit sensitive at the moment for some reason. Maybe it knows that I'm playing around with a Mac. But you'll see that exactly. So you'll see that that's automatically logged me in when I go and use Safari. So if I go here and I go quit that, and we go here, we go to portal.office.com, what should now happen is that should be seamless single sign-on. So now I no longer need to sign in because that's attached to the OS. So how do I actually see what's there is if we go to terminal, which is the equivalent of command prompt in macOS, and we're going to go here because I figure people want to see what we're doing. So we're just going to make it a touch bigger. And we're going to go app-SSO platform-S to show the status. And right now, I can see that there's device configuration, but I don't have user and logon. What should occur is if this is configured correctly, all of that information will appear there. So let's just do another quick check for status. And then we'll do a restart and see if it'll pick up the drive encryption component, which could help.
And if it doesn't work, we can always just go turn off the compliance policy for a bit.
Correct.
I mean, don't do that in production.
Well, our default compliance policy will cause issues as well. All right, let's go here.
What's the status saying this time?
Not compliant, learn more. So it's trying to register for SSO, but let's quickly do a restart. And it still didn't prompt for the 12 volt. What we might do is we might just manually configure that so that we don't have to worry about the device compliance policy because it's easy enough to set up. And the reason why I know is because I'm not getting prompted for those credentials. So I'm just going to step back across. And here we go, because Command F1. So, so what I think is happening, Adam, and I'm going to quickly just kick this off because I think it's not actually
Getting policy.
showing it correctly when it's full screened. So it's not showing me the notification on on screen mirroring.
Oh.
And that's why we weren't getting it. So now I hit sign in. I put in my credentials. So this popped up with a little thing up the top. It's in the documentation. You'll see it there. You're not missing much. It's just a notification. But obviously, I don't get notifications when the device is in screen mirror mode. I'll need to investigate that for future demos.
So that's equivalent to the toast notification being hidden when you're sharing in Teams
Correct.
and stuff like that. Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough. Seems like
Yeah.
a reasonable explanation.
I think so. And I'll explain why my demo yesterday at Workplace Ninja Sydney edition ran into issues.
Oh.
So now we're preparing the device. So I'll just go through it and it'll take a second to go through that process to register it and get it up and running. You can see that we've got our privacy terms there and it's fully branded for Intune training. So we know that it's doing what it's supposed to do. And you'll note the heading is register your device with Microsoft Entra. We then want to go here because we've used Secure Enclave. We now need to go and enable this. And we're going to go passwords and passkeys from company portal. If I can get the mouse to click on the right spot. And we're going to go OK. We close that. If we go back to our command prompt here, you'll see that we now have an SSO token.
Hey, we did it.
How cool is that? Right. We can see the status of it and everything associated and that how that's actually working.
All right. So I know it was a bumpy ride making that occur, but even
Yes.
so, even if we had it right initially, the last little bit here, I mean, that looked like some user interface training situation where, like, in order for this to actually work successfully and enforce it, we still are dependent on the user to take some action to really enable it.
Yes, that's correct at the moment.
Okay.
But that's no different than Windows Hello for Business and transferring it to use the biometrics and PIN.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So all that part was so that was two different pieces. You were, the one was register with platform SSO, and that happened and you were done, but then you were choosing to also go connect your biometric and secure enclave password to platform SSO as well, so that they all can work together.
Yes, because, and here's the cool part, right? If we go back to our tenant and we go to our user here, so I'm just going to bring this up and I'm going to go to my user Stephen. In here under authentication methods, and I go to the preview experience or the new experience, if it will catch up. And what should occur is I should see it here as an authentication option. Let me just.
I don't think you can see your own because you're a GA. You can't. You probably can't see them here. You have. Yeah, you have to go to your personal My Account portal to see it. You can't manage your own from the admin portal that way.
So if I go here, sure, whatever.
Make sure before you click, do you have PII that's going to display? I want to check so we don't have to edit this.
Well, you already edited.
We've been here. Yeah, we do have to edit just a little bit.
So just bear with us while we do a quick check. I don't want to change my password. Cancel. Sorry about this, viewers. It's very interesting, I'm sure. I've just got to remember
the security information.
Of course. No, it hasn't come through. So can we get you to share your screen there in the portal, Adam, or is that going to be too hard?
I don't even have a VM up. Let me see.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Well, what you should see in here under authentication methods is now you should see a device. Actually. Oh, no, I don't think that's tennis.
Do you want me to show your methods in the
profile.
portal? Okay.
Yep.
Let me see.
And what you should see in here is if you go under user and then pick Stephen, and then you go to authentication methods, change it to the new screen with the purple text underneath.
I clicked it, waiting.
Okay, cool. Can I get you to zoom in as well, please?
There it is. Platform credential.
That's the one. So you'll see that I'm now able to use the platform credential for macOS as an authentication process, much like I can with Windows Hello for Business.
And I can help you reset and start over.
Not right now, please. But yeah, so that's platform SSO. How easy is that? So long as you have the notifications visible, which evidently we did not.
Well, this isn't the first, thing that we've encountered. There we go. During our demoing, that is where if we weren't sharing or we weren't doing demos or we weren't using VMs, we wouldn't encounter these very odd things. Like, remember the time zone one that we did where we were fighting time zone stuff on VMs and it doesn't work there. It works differently. Or Hello for
Correct.
Business doesn't show up when you're doing enhanced mode on Hyper-V.
Correct.
Yeah. So there's always something. Always learning little bits and pieces. I think this is pretty neat, Steve.
Yep.
I guess one thing to call out. I mean, we haven't really gotten there with other things with iOS or anything, but that the extension stuff that you set up is not. I mean, that's specifically for macOS at this point.
Correct.
But there is an SSO extension that you can and should configure for iOS as well that helps
Correct.
with some of this stuff to help pass your credentials around to other things within the iOS platform. It's just not the full connected experience.
So it's the extensible.
Yes. So because I think it's exactly the same extension, the settings catalog settings that you used. It's the same ones. You just deploy them to iOS.
Correct.
Well, I think that's great. Hopefully this really gets some stuff, get some folks started. I'm going to put you on the hook for maybe putting some links to the locations where you got all of those nice URLs and things in the description when we upload this. That way folks can use it. I think I'm on the right page, but yeah, that'd be great to include that.
Definitely.
So also, just hey, if you made it this far, we very much have appreciated all the comments. We've gotten a ton.
Yep.
Probably this series, we've gotten more comments and communication from you guys than we've had really generally throughout. We're working on the stuff that you. We had a survey on a poll on our
still there
on our community page. Got a lot of responses. Looks like Hello for Business is the top request, so we'll give that a shot. Hopefully, it's a pretty quick one. But also, hey, if you need Hello for Business, we've got a couple of old videos for it. We were double checking. The most recent one is called Hybrid Cloud Trust, so it's not actually called Hello for Business. So, but go watch that one. But there is some other stuff around Hello for Business that is available on the channel already. So go take a look as well. All right.
Perfect.
So thanks for watching. See ya.
Thanks, Adam.